My mother used to live above a haunted store in Columbus, Ohio. After college, she opened a vintage clothing store in an old apartment house on the corner of High Street across from the Ohio State University. Unicorn Vintage Clothing, read the black and white sign painted with a leaping unicorn in a circle of stars. Unicorns were big that year, and so was vintage clothing. They soon expanded into the apartment next door, unboarding the doors between the two sections and building dressing rooms and display racks. Conveniently, the new section had an upstairs apartment which she claimed for her home. At night, the store was an eerie place, with its mannequins that never failed to startle her, with its racks of clothes where madmen or ghosts could lurk. Although the shop was quaint and pleasant during the day, after dark, she always hurried upstairs as quickly as she could and locked the door behind her. The west side of the store, where she lived, was sunny and comfortable, but when she stepped to the east side, there was a chill in the air, a touch of the damp, like the room that rarely sees the sun. Her apartment had a few idiosyncrasies. Many nights, she would wake to footsteps creaking slowly up and down the hall or plodding up the stairs. The first time it happened, she called the police. When they arrived, the doors and windows were all locked, just as she had left them. The officers exchanged glances as she explained the story. The next time she laid in bed, clutching the covers, telling herself it was only her neighbors 3 apartments away. But she also found things missing, crazy things like a pair of wool tights, books, and a kitchen knife. But she was the only one with the key. The Unicorn's manager, Ellen, we'll call her for this story, was a tall redhead with a soulful, high cheekbone face beneath a cloud of pre-Raphaelite hair. With her model's figure, she could wear clothing from all time periods. She often looked like she had just stepped out of an antique photo. Ellen herself was haunted. She had parents who saw ghosts, she had a brother with a crystal ball, and a house that positively seethed with spirits. Recently, poltergeist activity had begun to break out at her house, where she had 2 rebellious adolescent daughters. She took supernatural phenomena for granted. So when she told my mom that she had been pushed down the stairs by, quote, the old man, my mom gulped, but she listened. You just tripped on your skirt or something. Yeah, that's it, my mom suggested nervously. No, I felt a definite shove on my back, she insisted. Almost like, hey, notice me. It didn't really seem to bother Ellen, but it bothered my mom, having to look nervously over her shoulder as she clung to the handrail. It bothered her that things disappeared from her locked apartment. It bothered her that she realized that no trick of acoustics could transmit footsteps 3 apartments away. My mom started to get a mental picture of the old man, a stooped, gray-haired, rather untidy person in a cardigan, his shirt sleeves rolled up, shuffling about in his slippers. On the stairs, Ellen repeatedly felt a hand nudge her back. She began to talk to the old man, teasing the spirit about his ratty, greenish-brown cardigan. One day, my mom mentioned something, very tentatively, about the upstairs to the maintenance man, and he looked thoughtfully. He said, I'm interested in this kind of thing. Let me do a little research. A few days later, he came back, and he said that he asked the landlord, and the landlord told him, this used to be an optometrist's office. Well, the old doctor, he lived upstairs in the side opposite your apartment. And, he paused triumphantly, he died in that back room. This explained a lot. In fact, it was a classic ghostly phenomena. The dead person who doesn't know he's dead. As Ellen said, he just wanted some attention. My mom thought that she should feel sorry for this old man who had nothing to do than wander the halls and push people down the stairs, but he still really frightened her. Or was there another, more malevolent ghost at the unicorn store? One day, my mom's friend, we will call her Alexis, who she had just met, came to the store. On a whim, my mom asked her to go upstairs and get something out of the back room, the sewing room. Alexis felt a crawling in her stomach as she went up the stairs and was enveloped by the chill of the upper hall. At each step and all the way back down the hall, she fought her fear, wanting only to run back downstairs. She forced herself to turn into the door of the back room. In the closet was a man, a tall man in black clothes with a gaunt face, black greasy hair, and a beard. He grinned at her, a devilish grin. Terrified and shaken, she rushed back downstairs, only to have my mom casually ask her if she had noticed anything. Alexis later told my mom, "I could have strangled you for sending me up there. I was totally afraid, like I'd come face to face with something deranged." Alexis told my mom that she considers herself unusually sensitive to vibrations from anything old, and she had a theory that the sweat in old clothes contains pheromones that can be sensed by certain people and trigger psychic experiences. As a result of her uncomfortable psychic experience from the things that hung in her closet, Alexis decided to give away her cherished collection of vintage clothes, and these days she feels much less haunted. My mom made a similar decision to sell the store and moved away from the old man and the terrors in the night, away from the clothes and any former owners who happened to be hanging around. She moved into a nice sun-filled Victorian house, which, if it was haunted, was only haunted by mice. Only then could she relax and realize how much the atmosphere at the Unicorn had haunted her. 35 years later, I was a student at The Ohio State University studying historical fashion and fashion design, spending lots of time in their historic costume collection, looking over my shoulder, wondering who was still in the room with me. I would often walk by my mom's old vintage clothing store, and I would pause and look up that second-story window, and I would see the curtains slowly move, and I'd wonder to myself, does the old man know that he is dead yet?